Welcome to the program, Verona Blue.
Hi, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on. Of course, VHS 99 playing at TIFF, part of the Midnight Madness program, and of course is coming to Shudder October 20th. Very exciting. This is kind of the past 10 years, this has become like a cult
Yeah,
anthology following. Like people love the
yeah,
VHS movies. So
yeah,
when you got booked for this,
yeah.
how excited were you?
I mean, so here's the thing. I used to watch a ton of horror, like a ton of
Mhm.
horror. And then I think I hit a point in like my daily life and stress where I was like, I don't have room to be scared for entertainment anymore. Like
Yeah.
the real world is terrifying and I can't handle it anymore. So there was like a period where I kind of like walked away from horror. Like all the sort of hostile type of horror like is not for me. And I think that kind of
Mm.
went on for a long time in like the early, 2000s, 2010s. But then like the found footage thing as an anthology offers so many unique ideas.
Yeah.
Like Blair Witch when it came out, like really tricked us. Like they had, I think the website is probably still on like Wayback Machine. Like people really didn't know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
And then to be reinvented again with Paranormal Activity, and now in VHS, you have all of these different directors and writers who like have their own vision of like what found footage would be if it was them. That it's a little actually terrifying to be part of it because the bar is so high. Like, what if people don't like it? What if they, it's like a little bit scary to be part of something that's like so acclaimed and loved, but at the same time, I'm so hopeful that people just, love love the whole thing, but love our segment that I'm like welcomed into the horror community. I'm really excited about that.
Right, of course, yeah, and like basically the segment you're in shredding kind of kicks off the film,
Yeah.
directed by Maggie Levin,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was kind of it was interesting because again, I kind of forgotten about 1999 because
Sure.
1999 is kind of a gross year. If you notice, we all just kind of went yeah, kind of
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and so it's like the kind of once like the scene started for shredding and it kind of feels like the old CKY videos and things like
Yeah.
that it's like oh yeah right the 90s was just everybody 99 was everybody was kind of going crazy because some people thought the end of the world was coming, that's right,
Yeah.
and and so yeah, so of course you played Deidre, who
Yeah.
is part of the band Bitch Cat.
Bitch cat for life.
Bitch Cat for life, and
Yeah.
of course your part like the footage of the band playing and everything of course takes place a few years before that,
Yeah.
and watching that I got very nostalgic for the old
Yeah.
VH1
Yeah.
programming right there.
Yeah.
But so what was it like to be out there being a rocker?
Man, I've always wanted to be in a band, but
Yeah.
I play the flute and I don't care what anybody says. Like people are like, but Lizzo. I was like, me and Lizzo, nothing in common. She maybe can make it cool because she has like the marching band thing. There's no cool really application for the flute.
Right.
So like I took drum lessons for a couple years, like as an adult when I realized one day that I could do whatever I wanted. But like being in this fake band where somebody else wrote the song, somebody else plays the song, somebody else sings the song, and I just get to wear the outfit and rock out. Amazing. It
Yeah,
was so cool.
you got to be the monkeys basically.
Yeah. It was so good. Milli Vanilli. It was like all the best parts of being in a band without any of the hard work.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you want. That's what you
Yeah.
want. You want
Yeah.
that rock star life without any
Yeah.
of the years of working on a craft. Totally.
Or talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Oh man. So of course we get to see you as a band, but then of course the elements of the story get darker,
Yeah.
and things happening in 1999 in
Yeah.
the basement of a club
Yeah.
that's kind of become like a tomb.
Yeah.
So during those parts, did you get to put on the prosthetics and be a part of
Oh
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that whole part of the costume was wild. So for the prosthetics, it's actually a mask. So instead of having
Okay.
to like, apply and apply and apply makeup, they did the full head cast thing, which I'd never had done before. And I was sitting there at the makeup shop and they're like, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I was like, "I guess we're about to find out." And I was fine. And they're like, it's 30 minutes total. Like we're here the whole time. We'll talk to you. And there's people like constantly tapping your shoulder, letting you know. And like, I'm fine. And then this stuff starts to go over my eyes. And I was like, uh-oh, I think I'm claustrophobic. Um, And then, you know, you have this mask. So the thing that was cool about the mask is like it's finished, right? So instead of
Hmm.
having stuff glued to your face, it's totally done. And it was not easy to take on and off necessarily by yourselves because of the rest of that, the prosthetics. And I didn't really have the best vision because it actually, they all have eye covers.
Yeah.
So I kind of have these like little slits that I'm kind of like trying to see out of. But the day of doing everything else is like, it was gnarly. It was really gross. The way that they do it's a very Freddy Krueger-y effect, right? So they
Right.
take like an adhesive that they put on your skin, and then they take cotton batting and they kind of like dab it so it kind of sticks to you. And
Right.
then they take unscented warm gelatin, which does have a scent, and they just start like applying it with a brush, and so you have this like warm goo, and then they wait for it to dry, and then they like add more warm goo, and it creates those like that burn texture, right, like Freddy
Mm.
Krueger has. And then they take a special kind of paint and start adding the sort of layers of the redness and the inflammation and everything. So yeah, like that was several hours of just sitting there. This smells disgusting. I mean, looks really cool when you're,
Right.
especially when you're getting it done. I had my phone out. I was like, this is awesome. But then we did like our full fingers. So like you can't touch anything. Then you're walking around like this, you know, disgusting monster trying to like drink your Diet Coke with a straw through the mouth of the thing. It's terrifying all of the people on set, even though it's the middle of the day. So yeah, it was us the whole time.
Oh my
It was,
God. Yeah.
yeah, it was
Walking
an
around like
experience.
that and doing it all with basically about 10% of your vision. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, and also, you know, a lot of it's shot in the dark.
Yeah.
So they've made this like really ominous set dressing, and there's all this like jaggy whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna walk directly into that spike. If you could just move it out of my, I can't see it. I cannot maneuver around it. I can't see my feet. If you could just make sure I have a clear path, I would be very grateful, because they'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, action, and then they're like, okay, go, and then you have to kind of run to your next position, you know.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get impaled for real, so if somebody could help me. Yeah, it was weird and fun for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that sounds pretty fun. And
yeah,
well, the finished product, of course, loads of fun.
yeah.
Very,
You
yeah.
so you saw it at TIFF
I
already.
saw it last night at
Amazing.
a press screening, and yeah, no, it is a wild ride.
Cool.
Never lets up, and yeah, no, it was the perfect opener
Yeah,
for the piece, which was
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Definitely. Oh my gosh. But of course, aside from just being in this, I look at your work and I'm like, oh my God, she is just like, she's like, what can I do? What can I do? You need me to
yeah,
do stunts? You need me to do voices? You need me to jump around? You need me to do motion capture? You're all over the place. So is it like
yeah.
are you like in a constant state of like need to be working?
I'm in a constant state of, if I just like literally love acting, and I will do anything.
Right.
Like you know, I have a very specific look, obviously. Like, obviously, Deidre is a more extreme version of that,
Mhm.
but I'm still, the tattoos are still real, the hair is still real, the
Yeah.
piercings are still real. So, you know, I have a very specific look, which, you know, people are more used to seeing every single day in life. You know, it's not uncommon to see blue hair and tattoos anymore. But still on television, it's kind of uncommon. Like
Mm.
you see more men with tattoos, and they're kind of always like gangsters or like Latino, you know, prison guys. There's just like not a lot of, I hesitate to say, like representation of like your average goth girl on TV these
Yeah, I've
days.
noticed. Yeah, because I've noticed a lot of your performances, bartender,
Yeah.
weed seller, like
Yeah.
these things. Yeah.
Like a specific segment of life that I sort of fall into. So in terms of the work, like give me a character that like is an everyday person that just happens to look like this, like, you know, that works at an office, that has a mortgage. Like I would love to play like a normal person who also looks like this, because I am a normal person who
Yeah.
looks like this, who lives
Yeah.
and exists in the world. And it would be great to not just sort of play a costume, which is what happens a lot of times. It's like I get
Right.
hired because I embody the costume, and then the character is sort of the costume. But yeah, so like, I mean, I love acting. I love storytelling, and I love it across all mediums. So if they want me to do video game, there. If they want me to do the background voices for the thing, there. Like you asked me to do it. I'm already on set, you know?
Yeah, of course. And like that's the thing. It's like background voices. You've kind of become a number of background voices throughout the more recent Star Wars films.
Yeah.
How did you fall into that gig?
Yeah, a lot of luck. I had met the head of Skywalker Sound, Matthew Wood, years ago
Hmm.
socially, and we kind of kept in touch. And then, he had been doing conventions because he does the voice for Grievous, General Grievous
Ah,
in
okay.
Episode 3. So he does the convention circuit. And when I was in theater school in England, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be like in your area. Do you want to have lunch or whatever?" And so we just kind of kept in touch. And so while I was in theater school and he was being a successful Star Wars guy, we were still chatting regularly. And so when the opportunity came for him to start putting together the Loop Group, which is what you call these group of people who do the background voices for movies and television shows, he needed people. So here's the thing with Star Wars, they don't tell you anything.
Yeah.
Normally, if you're working on something, they'll tell you in advance at least a rough idea of what you're working on so you can prepare, you can make notes, you can
Right.
think about it. Maybe they send you a script. Star Wars, nothing. You don't know anything until you literally get there on the day. So you have to already be extremely well versed in the universe. I'm sure Marvel is the same way, and I'm sure like the Lord of the Rings is the same way. You have to
Yeah.
know everything about everything. You already have to know what the universe sounds like. You have to know what the robots sound like. You have to know what various aliens sound like, whether something sounds like Huttese or doesn't sound like Huttese. Like, you can't bring someone who doesn't know about Star Wars into a Star Wars Loop Group because it's too hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no help. Once you're there, it's just this weird competition amongst all of these nerds about who's the most Star Warsy. And it's always Sam Witwer. Incidentally, he's the biggest Star Wars nerd on the
Well, yeah,
planet.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Whitwer,
it's
Whitwer
always him.
breathes Star Wars. Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's always him. It's terrifying. But yeah, so I was invited to join this Loop Group because I was such a huge Star Wars fan, and I happened to know somebody who was putting together the group. So I was invited one time,
Right.
was the first female stormtrooper in the series, and then I guess did a good job and was able to come back a bunch more times. Didn't screw it up, so they let me come back.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. That's awesome. So yeah, so
yeah.
you're now part of a galaxy far, far away, which is fantastic.
Forever in whitish bluish letters.
That's no, that's definitely a cool thing to have on your resume. Totally.
Yeah,
And
really is.
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, of course, as I mentioned, you've multifaceted. You've done so many different jobs in acting, and of course, you've also written and produced. I've seen some of your shorts, and I wanted to know: are there any plans to? Do you have stuff on the go right now of any other projects that you've been developing?
I have some ideas. There's like, so I had 2017 was like not a great year for me. There's like a
Okay.
lot. My dog died and my dad died and my house like leaked and the whole thing kind of had to be deconstructed, and it was like living in ET with all the plastic sheets.
Oh
And there
my
was just like a
gosh.
lot of like not great things happened, and I've kind of wanted to make something humorous about like how terrible life is for a while. Like, because people would be like, "How are you?" And I'd be like, "Terrible, thanks for asking." And I kind of think like that is really representative, I think, of a lot of people's experiences at some
Right.
point in their life.
Oh
Just so
yeah.
like when it rains, it falls. When it rains, it pours. And sometimes the thing that pours is like the worst possible news.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of been like playing with that a little bit. But honestly, and I used to have this YouTube show called The People's Pantry that people who watched it really loved, where I made the world's most disgusting recipes from like
Okay.
community cookbooks, like
Yeah.
church cookbooks from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
The cookbooks were like, the school says everybody submit a cookbook, we're going to photocopy, collate it, send it back to you for $5, and then buy soccer uniforms, like those kinds of
Yeah.
cookbooks. And those recipes are not good. They're bad recipes, they have bad instructions, they are not edited, sometimes the ingredients are missing. And so
Oh
I used to
yeah. Well,
make I used
the parents tell their kid how to make it, and their kid writes it down, and they're gonna
right.
forget two or three things. Yeah.
Right. So I used to have this show where I made these recipes, and then I would make my husband try them because there's no way in the world that I was gonna like eat cream of shrimp anything. Um, and I've been thinking of bringing that back for TikTok specifically because I think it's right for the format.
Mm-hmm.
But other than these kind of like little ideas, I've mostly been trying to focus on like just finding that right television show where I can like get my little claws in.
Right. Sink your teeth in. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I look forward to that, and I look forward to see where you pop up next.
Thanks.
And yeah, just it was a fun ride. Shredding is balls to the wall fun, and the entire VHS 99. It really made me go, wow, yeah, we were really gross in 99. Like all this shit.
Yeah.
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 I'm kind of glad we all grew up from that. That we all,
Yeah.
yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
think we could have stayed that way. Definitely
I
not.
mean, with internet, if you go to the right place, I feel like it probably still exists
Oh, it
somewhere.
still exists. Yeah, yeah. It's just at
Yeah.
that time, it was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
was kind of like that.
Yeah. The
Oh,
novelty.
yeah, no, definitely. Well, Verona, I want to thank you so much for talking with me today. And of course, I really look forward to people getting to check out VHS 99 coming to Shudder on October 20th. And yeah, have
I'm so
yourself a great
excited.
Midnight Madness.
Thank you. I gotta say, as someone who's from Toronto, I grew up in Toronto,
Yeah.
having a show, a movie at TIFF, and I get to go to it, and it's a Midnight Madness, which is
Yeah.
easily the best part of TIFF, is such a bucket list. It's so cool. So I'm so
Right.
excited to see it with an audience, with a Midnight Madness audience, to be able to like be here and do it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you
Yeah,
so
no,
much. It's been
definitely.
fun.
Yeah, no, well, I hope you have the greatest time. Of course, now that this year they got the new Royal Alex location for it, so should be a pretty packed house. So have a
Yeah.
great time tonight.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All
So
right.
nice chatting with you.
Nice chatting with you too. Have yourself a great one.